Do you know what time it is? I know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? I'm pretty sure you know what time it is. I know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? We should know. It's silver and gold time. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty, traders. Silver and gold time. Let's have a look at what's going on right now. Let's have a bit of a recap of the week. What happened with gold and what happened with silver. Very, very, very exciting stuff that I'm seeing, guys, starting to play out with these markets, with actually silver and with gold. And it's just a lot of exciting stuff that's happening right now when it comes to the metals and also the miners as well too. So I'll get to the miners a bit later on, but now let's focus on gold and let's focus on silver. Let's actually focus on the good old gold first. And let's have a look there. So firstly, guys, I want to start off with a good old fundamental. And the fundamental is this. We know that printing is going to continue go through the roof. It is absolutely, no doubt, unequivocally gonna take off. Like we think we've seen a big stimulus package passed. Wait until you see what they got planned for us next week, right? Or next week, next year. And so that alone is devaluing the currency, and which would be bullish for gold and silver. And so why I see, just if I look at the fundamental fact of that, when this sort of stuff happens around this time of the history, if you read a lot of Ray Dalio stuff of where we are right now when it comes to New World Order, and what happens in revolutions and civil wars and the timeline that actually happens and so on and so forth. We see when it gets towards this, which is also towards the end of the long-term debt cycle, which means just the cumulative debt that's actually happened over many, many decades. And it comes to a devalue of the debt, a restructuring of the debt, a lot of pain. And then they start from a new world order, a new order of things. And then they start a new order of things of moving forward. So with all that being said, that's probably going to happen over the next, I believe that's going to happen over the next, say, 5 years. So from now through to 2025, we're likely to see that sort of stuff happening in the economy, which is a lot of civil war, maybe a revolution, a lot more printing of money, a lot more keeping 0% interest rates, and a lot more keeping things up. And a lot more printing of money is going to keep devaluing the currency. Now, devaluing the currency, guys, making the currency cheaper is actually going to make foreign investors come over and start to buy everything up because it's so cheap, right? Compared to their currency, the conversion rates, and so on and so forth. So when looking at why I believe it's the greatest time in history. This is the greatest time in history for the miners and the metals to be pumped up, because there's a good possibility that if you understand, right, if you look at markets in cycles, guess what? Everything goes in cycles. If you look at the last 500 years, guess what? This happens, right? Big long-term cycles happen. Booms, bust, whatever, right? So which was a gold standard, and this is what I'm getting to. What was a gold standard? Then 1971, I think it was, Nixon took us off the gold standard, and so therefore it's not linked to gold, and so therefore gold is not really, gold is gold, right? Buy some gold watches, some gold necklaces, that sort of stuff. But maybe, let me know what you think in the chat box below. But maybe there's a real high probability that the New World Order is gold. We're actually going to be linked back to gold as well too. Now, if that's the case, and we're going to go do that over the next 5, maybe by the end of this decade, that's going to happen. This is macro long-term view. If that is going to happen, and we have this macro long-term view of gold now being pegged back to the dollar in this restructuring of New World Order, then gold would be much, much, much higher. Gold would be Bitcoin prices. Like, we think gold is powerful right now. Imagine when inflation does start to really, really pick back up. imagine when, all that sort of stuff. And especially if they're going to do that, they will want gold. Gold has to be a lot higher than where it is right now. Has to be. If it's going to be pegged back to the dollar. So now what, 15, 20,000? It has to be Bitcoin prices before, at least Bitcoin prices, before we start to see, that whole linking back together. Let me know what you think in the chat box below. Do you think we are going to go back to a gold standard because of what's happening, and that's going to cause a restructuring and so on and so forth? Let me know what you think in the chat box below. But that's the long-term view, guys. Right? On the absolute short-term view, over the next maybe few months or more, it's looking really, really exciting. So on a technical basis, we can see that we're still in this gold chart here. We're still in this overall downward channel here. Still been lower, high, down, right? Down. But what we're getting right now is a potential end of trend type of move, where we have this support level here, and support level here. Okay, and now we're getting a breakdown. So right now, we need to be open-minded, not so biased on the markets, and are looking for opportunities. Because if next week we continue to rally up and we get back above 1800, or if I look at the GOD, this point here, if this GOD starts to get back above this level here, which is that 174, and we come back up and close the gap, it is on like Donkey Kong. And, here we go. It is big, massive moves will happen in gold, especially if this is the start of a 15, 20,000. Because I believe this pullback here has been a shake and bake for a lot of impatient people. I see it all over my YouTube channels, especially what's happening in gold right now and silver. We're getting this really big pullback, and a lot of impatient people who are even investing, which doesn't make sense to me. You're investing in it, but you're worried about the last 3 months. Your investing should be, okay, I'm investing with a 2026 view, or I'm investing in gold and silver for this decade, not this 12 months or this 3 months and so on and so forth. So if you're investing long term, just let the thing go, because the market's going to do its thing, right? Up, down, crashes, booms, sideways, up, down, crashes, boom, sideways. Especially when it comes to gold. All right. Same with silver, right? If you're in long-term silver, get ready for volatility. If you can't handle volatility in gold, just stay out of silver, because that thing will smack you in the face quick as you can look at it. And then it'll just completely retrace. It's like, oh, damn. So it's a wildcat, that thing. But looking at the GOD right now, we had a massive broke below 174. Massive. Big breakdown. There we go. Big breakdown. Right, down we go. Bing, 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 bong, bong. Down we go. Now we came down to a level of significant support, and now we've just rallied back up. So we're not out of the woodworks yet on the short term. The short term base is that we could actually hold this resistance level, and then down we go. But if we start to really break above here and we come and close this gap, oh my goodness, guys, it is just on like Donkey Kong. If I go have a look at silver, silver is doing sort of it's like, that's not silver. Silver is doing sort of the same thing, but we're still stuck in this overall sort of triangle pattern. Now, if I look at silver had this level of support through here, which is the $22.50 level. That level there, or maybe even if I look at the support and resistance level, possibly even around the $23 level, maybe somewhere about there, right? Resistance, support, sideways, and then a breakdown. Look at this here, breakdown, and now start to see a nice move back to the upside. So this could be the start. Once again, guys, this could be the start of another move up. We want to see this thing really start to get up and get back above these levels. If I look at the SLV, do we have a bit of a gap here on the SLV? Oh, we do too, yeah. So on the SLV, we have this gap. So from there to there, we have like a bit of a gap. So if we can start to get back above there, I'm just looking at the SLV price now, obviously. So the SLV price, that support level was probably through there. I can see that we have, where would that significant resistance be? That'll be the significant resistance I would use for that level, so coming down through there. So if we can start to really break up and out of this level here, then we're probably likely to start to see a very, very, very big move coming in silver and gold. So very, very, very exciting stuff, guys, when it comes to silver and gold. Long term, guys, this decade, oh my goodness, it is the decade of the metals and the miners. Traders, I've been getting a lot of questions asking me about, John, how do I trade the markets? What sort of system do I use? What's my approach, and so on and so forth. So I'm running a free masterclass teaching you my #1 trading system for the last 15 years. This is the most powerful and highest probability system on the planet. And I'm going to just share with you all the details. Plus, I'm going to share with you how I find and scan and do all my trading in 1 hour or less per day. If you go to johnsfreetraining.com, you can register for this free training that I'm going to run. So go to that right now. I'm going to teach you all the details, and I promise you, once you leave this free training, not only we know exactly what goes into a good trader, so you could be a good trader, but also you're going to learn my #1 trading system, all the details so you can start to crush it. So go to johnsfreetraining.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the masterclass. Go to johnsfreetraining.com right now.